Jew hatred has found a home in New York City. And to steal a line from Frank Sinatra, if Jew hatred can make it there, Jew hatred can make it anywhere. I can almost hear the song being sung. It's no joke, though. The new progressive darling that's been tapped by the left in New York City to be mayor of the city that suffered the worst terror attack in American history is a Hamas-supporting, radical, Islamic, Democrat, socialist. I'm Daniel Cohen, and this is The Real Life Network. Wake up, America. That raving lunatic that you just saw screaming at the top of his lungs. I say, wake up now or submit later. The man that you just saw yelling at ICE Director Tom Homan, do you believe in the First Amendment? Do you believe that man? That man is likely, he will become the next mayor of New York City. 33 years old, state assemblyman. His name is Zoran Mamdani. Not totally a household name yet, but he will be. Let me tell you about him if you don't know who he is. He is repeatedly called Israel's response to the actual genocide that Hamas tried to carry out on October 7th and did to some degree. He called Israel's response to that genocide. He leads Chants of Free Palestine on the campaign trail. The same thing that the anti-Israel, the mobs that you've seen on the college campuses, the From the River to the Sea, which is a call for the destruction of Israel. He says that if Prime Minister Netanyahu were to show up in New York City, say to speak at the United Nations, which is headquartered there, that he would arrest him. Listen.
And Mayor Mamdani, would you welcome Prime Minister Netanyahu to New York City for whatever he comes for, given the US is not a signatory to the ICC, so he can travel to the US, unlike a lot of other countries. Would a Mayor Mamdani welcome Benjamin Netanyahu to the city?
No. As mayor, New York City would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. This is a city that our values are in line with international law. It's time that our actions are also.
This man you just heard from, who threatened to arrest Prime Minister Netanyahu, his name, again, Zoran Mamdani. He wants to defang ICE. He wants to grant citizenship to every illegal. Forget ICE. You don't need ICE. No one's illegal anymore. $30 minimum wage, free health care for everyone, which, by the way, isn't free. Free city busing, again, not free. City-owned grocery stores. And also this is the big one that should make you sit back and say, this is frightening. He wants to defund the New York Police Department, the NYPD, in favor of social workers. If you have ever had to call the police at midnight or 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, something maybe really, for you to call the police, something serious has happened or is happening. Who do you want showing up to restore calm? Is it a social worker? Is that who you want? It's not who I would want. Is that who you would want? No, of course not. You want someone who's trained that can de-escalate a threat, even if it becomes physical, not a social worker. That is not the answer. But ladies and gentlemen, this is your modern day. This is your Democrat Party. The party that has anointed itself as the champions of democracy, who foisted Kamala Harris. Thank you, Lord, we dodged a bullet that we didn't get Kamala Harris in 2020. They foisted her on the Democrat Party and America. She received not one single vote to be put at the top of the ticket. They're the ones that are lecturing you and lecturing us about democracy. They got a real Sophie's Choice. They had a real Sophie's Choice in New York City. They have the system there is this ranked choice voting. So, you could put, this is who I want number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Basically, it's this aggregation that they think they're going to bring the cream will rise to the top of what the people really want. So we have Zoran Mamdani. Who else do we have? He got 43% of the vote. And former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who was, I'll just remind you, forced to resign in total disgrace in 2021. Why? Sexual harassment, allegedly groping women. This is it. This is the best the Democrat Party could do in New York City, the largest, number 1 metropolitan city in the world. The current mayor, Eric Adams, he's independent. He's been banished. He's been exiled like the island of misfit toys. They let him go for not being insane enough. He said mass amnesty and flooding New York City with illegal immigrants was basically going to paralyze its ability to function. The Democrats see him as just too close to Trump. Look, it would be interesting if Trump endorses Adams and Cuomo drops out. I'm trying to figure out how the math shakes out. Could they still stop Zoran from becoming mayor? I don't think so. I don't think so. That's your next mayor of New York City. He says he doesn't believe Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state, and he's willing to put his money and a microphone where his mouth is. Before politics, Mamdani released a few rap songs. They were horrible. They failed. But I'm not mentioning that not to just make fun. I mention that because it was revealing of who he is. Watch and listen.
In 2017, Zoran Mamdani released a rap track that praised 5 convicted Hamas funders known as the Holy Land Five. Now he wants to run New York. Mamdani says, look him up. So we did. These 5 men were convicted of funneling over $12 million to Hamas, a U.S. designated terrorist organization responsible for the murder, rape, and kidnapping of civilians, including Americans.
Yep.
Mamdani sent his love to convicted Hamas funders. Let that sink in.
Let that actually sink in for a moment. 9/11, the worst terror attack in American history, happens in New York City. If you were alive, if you remember that, gosh, feels like it was yesterday. That was carried out and perpetrated by radical Islamic terror. And we have somebody espousing and supporting. He won't condemn terrorism against. Hold on. We'll get to that in just a second. Let's just address the Jewish population. Okay, listen. You're Jewish. First of all, why are you voting Democrat if you're Jewish and you're anywhere in America, to be honest with you? But in New York City specifically, you are no longer safe. What more do you need to see and hear? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for a brick through your window or your synagogue? What are you saying, Daniel? Are you saying that I should leave New York? Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying. Time to balkanize in a place where there is not an open hostility toward your very existence. 1.3 million Jews in New York City. There are more Jews in New York City than Jerusalem and Tel Aviv combined. Is it time for a new exodus? Yeah, I think it is. Or stay. It's on you. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he half joked on Tuesday. He said that the real estate prices in Palm Beach were about to skyrocket. The real tell, though, on Mamdani, let's bring it back, is this. He refuses to condemn the use of the phrase globalize the intifada.
Sure, but does that just make you uncomfortable? Like the phrase globalized intifada, from the river to the sea, does that make you uncomfortable? Or
I hear in so many is a desperate desire for equality and equal rights in standing up for Palestinian human rights. And I think what's difficult also is that the very word has been used by the Holocaust Museum when translating the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising into Arabic, because it's a word that means struggle.
Let me, in case you missed that or that went over your head, let me just be really clear. What he just did was cheapen the Holocaust. That's what he just said. He was cheapening what the Jews suffered. Intifada is not just a struggle. It's an uprising. It's a rebellion. It's globally understood as a call to use terrorism, blowing up buses, physical, actual violence, the murder of Jews, the first and second intifada that took place in Israel, where I am right now. It's the use of violence to accomplish a political goal. Mamdani refuses to sponsor New York State's annual Holocaust Remembrance Day a resolution 4 years straight. And when he gets called out and people say, gosh, some of the things that you're saying here are anti-Semitic, I think is whitewashing. This is straight up Jew hatred. But here he is. crying some great big crocodile tears. Watch this.
Anti-Semitism is such a real issue in the city, and it has been hard to see it weaponized by candidates who do not seem to have any sincere interest in tackling, but rather in using it as a pretext to make political points. And that's what I've tried to share.
Yeah, he was really sobbing right before the part that we showed you there, and saying he's faced personal death threats. And what is it that you've espoused? What is it that you've put out there? The Jordan River, Mediterranean Sea, from the river to the sea. You're calling for the destruction of Israel. Jewish safety, Israel's right to defend itself against bloodthirsty terrorists who you refuse to condemn. It's not some political point. It's a matter of life and death. Globalize the Intifada, he says, as he considers standing up for human rights. 36th district from Queens, 22% Muslim that he represents. That's triple the average in New York City. He built a coalition of Muslim voters, some immigrants that live there, radical leftists who hate America and Israel. Guess who else is from New York City? That's in the sidecar with this guy. AOC. She endorsed him. Bernie Sanders called his campaign inspirational. That should tell you everything. Listen to this.
To have it such that it was a rite of passage for our elected officials to assume office and then to go to Israel. And that rite of passage is done. And I tell that to you as a state assemblyman. And I say that to you as the proud colleague of a state senator. And I say that to you as a member of an organization, the Democratic Socialists of America, that has 6 elected officials in state office, all of whom agree with the same cause.
What did you hear when he said all that? What did you hear? You know what I heard? I heard this guy is not the fringe. This guy is not the extreme fringe of the left. This is mainstream leftism right there. You saw him with the Youth for Palestine flag that was flying behind him, the same flags that Hamas flies and that they had when they attacked Israel on October 7th. So here's the thing. This is the interesting thing about democracy. Let's strip it back a layer. You get the government you deserve. You should get the government and the people that you deserve. You elect them. We hear what this man's saying. None of it's new. And New Yorkers went out and said, that's my guy. New Yorkers suffered under Bill de Blasio. My goodness. He's never been a worse governor. Apparently they didn't suffer enough. Californians are currently suffering under Gavin Newsom. Horrible, failed governor. Abysmal, especially during the wildfires that hit Southern California. The Palisades. Los Angeles, they just elected Karen Bass as mayor, who skipped town knowing there was a ripe, perfect condition for major wildfire. She left town anyway. A disaster of leadership. And then when ICE showed up just within the last few weeks to deport violent gangbangers in Los Angeles and in California illegally, what did she do? She stood up for the illegals. This isn't just about one candidate in New York City. The agenda is larger, it's darker. This is the same demographic transformation that gave London Mayor Sadiq Khan. The major cities of the UK, have you noticed? Have you seen? The leaders are all Muslim. Minneapolis gave us Ilhan Omar. Detroit gave us, Michigan gave us Rashida Tlaib. Paterson, New Jersey is called the capital of Palestine in America. In Hamtramck, Michigan, there's a Muslim majority city council, and they broadcast the Islamic call to prayer 5 times a day. Guys, this is how it starts. They demand tolerance. They use flowery language, accommodation, religious tolerance. They demand special rights and privileges, and then they start to change the makeup of the community. And then they start to become a majority. And then the flowery language starts to change. And then they demand submission. The word Islam means submit. Did you know that? In New York City, the financial capital of the world, home to 8.3 million people, headquarters of the UN, like we said, right in the radical crosshairs. The Democrat Party that once was a strong supporter of Israel. The strongest supporter in Israel, the Democrat Party, ironically today, is John Fetterman. He's the strongest supporter of Israel for your whole party? They've been hijacked by people who hate America, who hate what America was founded, the founding principles. They've replaced patriotism with progressivism. They've replaced Judeo-Christian values with secular, humanism. And American interest with globalist ideology. Gaza is about an hour and a half from where I'm sitting, where I'm speaking with you right now. Gaza is being de-radicalized faster right now than New York City. This isn't just the fall of New York. It's a warning for all of America, wherever you live. This is a warning to you. Wake up. Or have this dancing on New York's grave. From Israel, for the Real Life Network, I'm Daniel Cohen.